before I go through the presentation, I'd just like to tell you a little bit about myself and my background. Most of my working career was spent in Aer Lingus. I joined Aer Lingus in Shannon in 1977 and spent 23 years there. Worked in the three Irish airports, Dublin, Cork and Shannon, and also in a number of the European airports. I left there in 2002 and went to work with Nestle for a short period of time. They had a particular project there. They were selling their Irish manufacturing business and they wanted some HR work done around that. That business was bought by four individuals led by Michael Carey, and they formed Fruitfield Foods. And the products that were manufactured in that business were fairly well-known Irish brands, probably very traditional ones like Chef Sauce, Fruitfield Jams and Marmalade, Silvermints, Scott's Clan and Double Centre. In 2004 then they bought the Jacobs biscuits. It was effectively a reverse takeover. The Jacobs business was 4 times the size of the Fruitfield Foods. And that formed the Jacobs Fruitfield Food Group, and I became HR director of that business. That was 2004. It was very strong intention from the management at that time to grow the business and to make it a really successful Irish manufacturing business. But I think as we're all discovering, that's a very, very big challenge. And for a number of reasons, in 2006 the board took a decision to get out of manufacturing. Reasons such as employment costs, utility costs, the fact that we just couldn't get extra business into the factory. I'm sure problems that those of you who have any manufacturing background are very familiar with. So the decision was taken in 2006 to get out of manufacturing, and we began that process, and that's mainly what I want to take you through this morning. The business at that stage had 550 people. At the end of May, it'd be down to 60, and we would have done that without any industrial action or without any negative media coverage. And I was hugely critical to the board because they didn't want the Jacobs brand damaged in the process. So in terms of this morning, I'll talk in general terms about planning and implementation of the downsizing. You'll find probably some parts more relevant than others, depending on your organisation size, depending on the importance of your brand, and depending on the level of your restructuring. I think that goes without saying. I think downsizing your business is a major decision, and the manner in which the process is managed is key to your business's future. And that can't be overemphasised. It is critical that when you go downsizing or you go restructuring, that you get it right, because making a mess of it can have implications for your business. In terms of the process I have always used around downsizing is a 4-stage process: planning, and really it could only be a 1-stage process: planning, planning, planning. You cannot put enough time into planning in it, and take you through the importance of that. The whole way you communicate it is critical. Internal communication is obviously a must for every business. The size of your business and the level of your restructuring will determine the amount of external communication you need to do. Having got your planning and implementation correct, or your communication correct, your implementation should follow on. And then there's the whole management of change and the management of the business that's left behind. In going through those 4 stages, I think it's critical at each one of them to consider the implications of what you're doing on the organisation, on the people, and of course make sure that you're meeting all your legal requirements. In terms of the organisation, it's critical that you have a clear picture of your new structure. You know, that you know what you're doing and what your business is going to look like when you're finished. You need to consider the impact on your brand. Your brand may not be important to some businesses, to others it's critical. As I said, in Jacobs, it was absolutely critical. Jacobs makes its business based on its brand. Any damage we did in that restructuring could have significantly damaged our brand. You possibly need to contact the impact on your customers and your suppliers, what messages to send to them, impact on any other stakeholders, and consider any other organisation fallout. You know, again, in Jacobs, one we had to consider was from the moment we announced the closure, would there be industrial action, would we lose production, how we deal with that. On your people, again, you have your clear picture of your new structure. Who do you need for the structure? Who are the people you need to keep behind? Who's going to run your business in the future? And how can you ensure that you keep those people? And a critical part of that is making the decision around, is it going to be a voluntary process or is it a compulsory process? And of course you have the legal aspects as well, you know, that you comply with the notice requirements, that if it's a collective redundancy situation, that you get into consultation, that there's a fair selection process, that you also check employees' contractual obligations, which at some time may give them greater entitlements than their legal entitlements. And obviously, just as naturally payments are entitled to as well. In terms of planning, this is, as I said, this is really where your downsizing or restructuring will stand or fall. It's a critical element of the process. And in doing your planning, you need to consider all your organisation, people and legal issues. And when I say consider, I mean consider in great detail, not just pass over them. You will find the benefits of these later on. In as much as possible, foresee the likely issues. Sense check stuff with colleagues. You know, in Jacob we had a management team, we were 4 or 5 who delivered this process. And we went through every possible question, irrespective of how stupid it might seem, that we would be asked, and we had an answer for that. And that paid off later as we went through the process.